Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Indiehub Spotlight, the show where we take a look at some of your favorite games with themed weeks. This week, we are going to be delving into the games that are made by one developer. And this week, I'll be joined once again by the bird flying over us all, Mr. Raven 00.
Hopefully not crashing.
Hopefully not crashing. Hopefully not dive bombing into a rock on the ground. As well as the wizard that tormented Dorothy but decided to make his name really hard to spell, Oz the Hokai.
I'm so tired. I've been doing work for the past 9 days straight.
Yeah, no,
I'm
Oz.
so done.
Struggling to spell your own name.
You're gonna see me again tomorrow too, so
Yeah.
you'll never get rid of me.
that is very true.
I'm just always working.
Well,
Hey,
like
at
we,
least you got a job at the moment.
that is true. That Twitch is my job at the moment, quote unquote job, because I don't make enough money. All right. Anyways, like I said, this week we're going to be taking a look at games that are made by one developer. And we're going to go ahead and start it off with Mr. Raven with Banished. Take it away.
Yeah, Banished. It was made in what? It's made in. Oh, already.
Great start. Great start.
Great.
It's
It got released on the 18th of February 2014. It is developed and published by Shining Rock Softwares. It is also the only game made and developed by Shining Rock Software that they have done. And Banish is a city building strategy game. You control a group of exiled travelers who decide to restart their lives in new land. They only have the clothes on their backs and a cart filled of supplies.
and no food at all.
No food at all. All your villagers are gonna die of dysentery. It's the Oregon Trail all over again.
That's how we do.
You can never build enough farms for
Nope.
fuck's sake.
Not at all.
But yeah, it is a very nice.
You're right there, Ross.
It's-
A pen dropped. It's fine. I tried to catch it. It didn't happen. Don't worry about me.
Go ahead, Raven.
But I like Banish on the fact that it probably, or not does probably, it does outshine a lot of beta, alpha, and pre-launch games, even most launch games that are of this genre.
Sure.
Just because of how just because of how solid the basic mechanics are in the game. Obviously a city builder, it's also sort of a survival builder where you've got to make sure your town and that lives by make sure they have food.
Yeah, you got all that resource
all that
management.
shit,
Yeah.
the heat, the cold. So if you've got if your people are complaining about a cold house, then either make sure they have enough fuel to light the fires, or upgrade to a stone house, because obviously stone houses are that a little bit warmer, other than wooden ones are not. The best
I would
at
hope
times.
so. I would honestly hope so.
But you literally start with very very little. You start with a few houses, a barn, and about 500 food, which will go within seconds. I swear to God, one of them eats like a fucking king and has a whole hog roast.
One of them
every
probably is a
30
king.
seconds.
I mean, if I had a hog roast, I would also want to eat that as opposed to
Oh,
anyone
absolutely.
else.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But
There's plenty of good children to eat too.
Yeah.
but it is a very solid game.
I mean, blood for the blood god and everything like that, you know?
Skulls for the skull throne.
Oh God!
I mean,
Don't make me read the next book. 'Cause according to this, you'll be a heretic.
ooh. I mean, for me, I honestly, when I look at Banish, I honestly, I think back to the days where little old Jalavai, you know, like 6 years old, ye old Jalavai, you know, 6 years old, and you know, I'm going to my cousin's house, and my cousin has, his name is Jerry. My cousin Jerry has his PC set up, and he's playing Warcraft 3 and everything like that. And I just see him build like these structures and everything, and you know, resource gathering and everything like that. And I remember getting a turn on Warcraft 3. I'm like, oh my god, this is a fantastic game. This is on PC, bro. Where can I get this? And that is where I got addicted to video games. So thanks, Jerry.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Very much by the people who've made the game. His goal is to make simple and fun games for people who enjoy cinema to the enjoyment he got from playing in like games and a game called shareware games, or a bunch of games called shareware games, or from the company back in the 1990s. So it is supposed to be like a very sort of callback to the old sort of management building games,
Right.
but with a very sort of realistic survival take on it. And it shows. It has such solid core mechanics, from feeding people, because it really does feel like you're trying to feed a village by having like 5 farms, and almost every one of your villagers working on that farm, and then they still complain and they still starve to death.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, they're going to die of dysentery. You
I
know,
love dysentery. That's my favorite.
I love dying from dysentery. It is my favorite.
If I can.
Oh
No,
yeah,
honestly.
absolutely.
But from the base, it's nice watching your villagers get together, have families, get children, which are my slave labor, because they eventually obviously become slave labor.
Oh,
boy.
okay.
When I say slave labor, I just mean.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Right now,
No, we've already gone down. We've gone down the rabbit hole. Thanks, Raven. This video is now going to be
That's okay.
demonetized. We're going to get banned on Twitch.
Sponsored by child labor.
We don't condone any sort of slave labor, child labor. No, don't do it. This is all jokes.
No, it's all internships. It's all internships. They get experience.
Oh yeah, internship is what they call
They
it.
get education first, and then they hit 18, and it's straight to the farm.
Yeah. I mean, I've already seen like a rip-off game of Banished. I think it's called like something like Ostriv or something like that. It's like a really weird spelling of Ostriv.
Yeah.
But like even Ostriv, it looks very similar to Banished, but I'm not sure if necessarily the mechanics are the same. Ostriv, I believe, was built like sometime in March or something like that. I remember reading something about like a Banished clone, something around those lines, back in like March or something like that.
A lot of game developers want to copy the sort of core mechanics and the solid core play of Banish, but somehow look at it, go, yeah, we know how to copy that.
Yeah.
And completely up.
Yeah.
Even though they try making their own, which is fine.
Right.
But they forget about the core mechanics and the simplicity of this game. Not saying it's like, you know, it's still competition. You got to keep managing your people, make sure everyone's workers. You never know when a worker might chop a tree down wrong and have it land on them.
Right.
Or a cave in, and you might lose somebody in your ship. Like, fuck, who can I pull off? Where can I pull somebody off?
Right.
That doesn't have a necessary job. Because I never like pulling anyone away from the farms, because food is so fucking important. It's annoying.
Food is very important. Sustenance.
It's like when it comes to the base game, it's so fucking brutal. I end up having to use mods to make the game that little bit easier. Just on the fact that yes, the base game is solid.
Yeah.
But it's very, very brutal even on the easiest of settings, it would.
I know what you're talking about.
It's
I
easy
love.
setting! I didn't know that. Dead.
Oh, cool.
So,
There's
yeah,
dysentery in this game.
mods is
Oh,
like-
my
mods-
entire village is dead.
Pretty much. But when it comes to mods, it's only stuff like increasing the yield of your crops just by that little bit much, because the base game value for your crops isn't worth even doing crops, but you have to do crops to get food for your village.
Right.
So as much as it's really game, the kind of mechanics is solid, it's not quite balanced when it comes to how much it gives to takes. And if it
Are
was
you
to the point,
Are you alone on the map? Are there other like villages or things
you're
like that?
literally alone. If you've got a town hall, you can get nomads which will come by and you can invite them into your sit town, or they will just go away. But other than that, you're literally the map is completely yours to do with. So you got a big map, but I wouldn't expand all too much. I would try and keep small, just for the meantime, even though they still integrate together.
Yeah.
And have expanding families. But yeah, you got map to yourself.
Wow.
But mods are the only way to sort of...
They're like your
fulfill it
saving
a little
grace
bit.
at this point.
Yeah, it is, because it's just too brutal, even on the easier settings.
Yeah. And is that necessarily a bad thing that you feel like it? Do you necessarily feel like that's a bad thing, or like?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like I like the fact that it is that kind of little bit hardness, because it does make it more realistic, and it is a simulation of sorts.
Sure.
But the logistic numbers
Mhm.
when it comes to at least the crop side of things does not work, and it doesn't work with a lot of things.
Right.
So, like I said, I would have to have like 100 fisheries to feed like 20 people.
Can I stop
doesn't
you
work.
real second? Yeah, I just love how there was like a little horn from Oz's mic. like there was like a really like perfect time when you said that.
I can't help it.
That I just heard
I live
Oz
in
just like
Brooklyn.
beep beep in the background. I'm like, dude, that's fantastic. Oh
Seatbelts, everyone.
yeah, get on your seatbelts, otherwise you're gonna get beep beeped on.
Oh
Ooh,
no!
you're gonna get beep beep. Listen, man, if you don't wear your seatbelt, you're gonna get beep beeped. All right. I mean, I'll just say this. Is Banished made by like what engine is Banished made on? Is it Unity, Unreal, or is it their own engine that they're running on?
Don't know. I believe it's their own engine that they work on.
Well, I mean, I'll just say this: if it is their own engine that they're working it on, and they made an entire game that other games will want to copy on, I mean, first of all, I think you found a recipe for success. My only thought is, if they can make this sort of game in their own engine, what other games can they make that is up to Banished's caliber that that people would want to basically copy off of? Because if there are games that are copying Banished, I mean, that, like I said, that's a recipe for success that you have going on there.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you would have thought, regardless of what engine it is or uses, that you would still, if the core mechanics are core mechanics,
Right.
you can't go wrong, regardless if you're doing a space, a futuristic one, a past one. Look at Anno. Anno does an amazing job on it.
Yeah.
And they have a very different style and a very different way of having that mechanic come across. But it's still a solid mechanic.
Right.
But all these knockoffs are just
Yeah.
terrible. They don't go, okay, these are the solid core mechanics. We need to make sure they are flushed and work well, and then branch out, and while branching out, making sure that specific item is balanced and works with everything else within tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, the numbers might not be quite there when
Yeah.
it comes to Banish, but Banish is literally made by one developer. It's made by one person who's done the art, the
Yeah.
design, the program. He's done everything to the game himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's
And I can understand with the numbers and with getting stuff to how much work it counts not being balanced. It's fine.
right.
But it's made by one person. It's a damn
Right.
good job. It's a solid feel.
Yeah, and
And that's why the mods come in, because the mods make it a more flushed game.
right. And I mean, I'll just say this right now, and this goes out for each and every single. This goes out for all of our games right now. But the fact that these single people developing these games are rivaling some of the top gaming studios out there, and they're doing it on their free time with no payroll, no nothing. They're literally putting it on a dime, and yet they're putting out exquisite pieces of art and gaming for everyone to experience. You know, it may not be for everyone, but you can't argue that, you know, these games are arguably better than, you know, a game made by a AAA game developer studio
Ubisoft.
like Ubisoft. Exactly.
Ubisoft that wants to pretend it's an indie studio still. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird because they're publishing games made by other indie game
Ubisoft.
developers like Rayman.
Microsoft.
Yeah, it's incredible the fact that these individuals that have spent years perfecting their game can rival some of the biggest AAA game developers out there. And yeah, I mean, to have a single guy make Banished in a game engine that they have made by themselves.
I think it's made by a third-party engine, but it doesn't state what third-party engine.
Just because like there's like a base engine in place, regardless.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, it's still a fantastic feat. You know, to have that. Oz, do you have any final arguments or statements?
I mean, I guess like the food problem might be by design. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily a mistake,
Right.
but more of like, yeah, survival is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like don't get me wrong, I understand. It's a bit of a survival colony builder. And you got to manage logistics.
Right.
But it's way too not unfair. I don't want to use, but it's way too like
Tasking.
like where say a game like Anno 2070 or 2020, however you want to put it that way,
Anno.
where they go, okay, you will have a set amount from per 25 to 15 long section of harvesting zone.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get a set amount from that because that is how much it would grow. And that, for some reason, regardless of how big or how small you sort of make your growing zones, you will never quite get the same yield.
Right.
You can't get that perfect
So
size.
So it's not
or
like
shape.
consistent, is what you're trying to say.
There's no massive consistency. You can have one big field
Right.
by like 50 by 50, have that all worked on, but you won't get more than so much, where 2-3 other fields from different shapes and sizes would probably give you more yield, even if it comes under the initial sizing of that 50 by 50,
Yeah.
which is really baffling to me.
And I suppose that is. I suppose that's also really frustrating too, because like if you're playing a game and you like and a game like strives on consistently like having resources managed and everything like that, and then you have some sort of RNG mechanic that says, hey, you have a 50 by 50 plot land, but your yield per for that year or for that section of time you have, we're just gonna choose a random number from here to here, and based on your crop field size, then that's the number that we pick from. I feel like that is inherently a bad game mechanic that honestly needs to be changed to something a little bit more consistent. Like maybe having maybe a 10% yield or 10% difference. Maybe that's it. But
like I said, it's not so much the sort of RNG on what number they're picking, but it's
right.
just how they've numbered the crop yields in
Right.
general. It just needs that sort of tweaking and fixing, but unfortunately they're no longer working on the game other than sort of bug fixes, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's
I do find that I do find that a lot of indie developers, they release their game, they might throw like 1 or 2 updates in there just for other people, like the main game breaking stuff.
Yeah.
But then they kind of just move on to something new.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what the developer for Stardew Valley is kind of doing. I'm not talking about Stardew Valley for my game. I'm just saying, but the developer of Stardew Valley, I think his name is Concerned Ape. He's about to release version 1.5 of Stardew Valley, and for me, I completely love Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley for me is one of those games that is almost it's almost timeless.
I didn't even think it needed that many updates to begin with.
No, it really didn't, because honestly, the mods that you can get for Stardew Valley as well, like they're fantastic too. But right now he's working on version 1.5 for Stardew Valley, and he's been saying like he doesn't know where else to take Stardew Valley. He doesn't know if he's going to keep updating Stardew Valley. We're not sure if they're going to be getting a Stardew Valley 2, but it has been confirmed that he's working on 2 other different projects other than Stardew Valley. And I that's kind of the issue with one-man developers, is they have a solid fan base for a game that they made, but that they want to move on to different games and different and different genres, but they still have like a rabid fan base.
Yeah. And a AAA studio can like divert a bunch of people, like hire a pure team just to do updates.
Yeah, and that's
the sad point when it comes to this game. It's been confirmed that there will not be a Banished 2, which is what fans have really been wanting, a more sort of modern, not modernized, but more up to date game on potentially a better engine,
right?
Just like a more polished version, but better more. Unless you mod the game buildings, there's very limited things. There's another bad thing when it comes to stock, livestock management as well.
Is Shining Rock Software developing other games? Do you know?
I think they've mentioned that they might be working on another project, but
okay.
There's nothing confirmed. It's just a case of there's been confirmed that there's no second one. But we don't even know if there's a new project. Fans have asked if they're working on a new project, but there's no confirmed.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna briefly mention this, and Oz, you might be talking about this later on podcast tomorrow, but did you guys hear that Amnesia went open source? Both Amnesia 1 and Machine for Pigs, they both went open source.
Here comes the mods.
Yeah.
It's only good. It's only good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I was like, yes, you
I heard that yesterday. I'm like, wait, really? Because I didn't hear that. But I mean, that's so cool. I would honestly, I love games that do that'll give you like the actual source code, like not even give you the assets or anything like that, like F the assets, honestly, but just getting a hand of the code and making sure, and especially if you're a rookie game developer or something like that, and you want to have like a starting point, then you can grab like these open source games out there right now, and you can put it in, make your own different, make your own differences, and open, and and post it online for another open source, as another open source project. Like that initiative from the developers of Amnesia is honestly such a bro move to the gaming community. I just gotta respect them for that. I gotta say. All right. Anything else that we would like to talk for Banished?
Not really.
All right.
I had to sum it up.
Please do. Sum it up in a sentence.
Pitch.
Very fucking back. It's like,
Just,
fuck, I knew I was
just
gonna do something for this.
dot.
No, but
Get banished.
in a world where you are settled down to start a new town, and you can never get enough food, so you need to breed more to get more food, to breed more to get more food.
I like how all of your sum it up in a sentences have been in a world.
I know.
Only done it twice, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Oz, let's go ahead and move on to your game, shall we?
All right. So, this is not actually a recent game.
No.
And you probably have heard of this, but
you may have heard of this game.
You may have heard of it. It's a little indie darling called FNAF World. FNAF standing for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Now
The game developer that needs no introduction.
Because Scott Coughlin is a madman and can make games really fast.
Dude, he's making so much bank off of the FNAF series.
The books are not bad.
He has books. He has a comic that's out. He's getting a movie that's made. He's
I'm not.
He's having a FNAF movie made. He's having like so many different games. Security Breach is almost out.
Yeah,
like,
that game looks so good.
Like, come on.
I'm sure a lot of people are wondering why did I pick FNAF World? Notably, the worst one. The reason is, one, I love RPGs, and two, because I really love bad games. There's something truly, especially from a good developer, there's something truly wonderful about it. Let me give you some background of how this development cycle. So it was first released on September 15th of 2015.
Conflict.
Oh wait, no, sorry, it was first announced. That was first announced.
Yeah.
Then it was first planned for February 12th. I'm sorry, 2nd. But of course, knowing Scott Coughlin, he released it on the 22nd of that same year, of January 22nd. So he releases stuff early all the time.
Oh yeah.
And
Makes Matt Pat from Game Theorist just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, he might just release it. So it was released, and a lot of people didn't like it. So he patched it. He first pulled it from Steam because it was first on Steam. Gave refunds to everyone, and then made it free.
Yeah.
And then put it on Game Jolt.
he made it free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely free.
Completely free on Game Jolt.
Yeah. On February 8th, he released. He basically released it as freeware of that year. Then on May 13th of 2016, he gave it its update. Update 2.0, where voice acting was included. Boy, howdy, did I wish he didn't do that. We're gonna get there.
Oh.
Then on January 12th, he released it on Android, and the very next day pulled it from Android.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no update 3. This is basically, he said, it's just staying. It's no longer on Steam. It's just.
You can only find it on Game Jolt.
You can only find it on Game Jolt,
Yeah.
which is where I found it. And it's completely free. You can download it right now. It's a very small file. It's like 2.1 megabytes.
Wait, it's that small?
You would think it's big, but no, it's a really freaking small game.
Wow.
Yeah. So, what it does wrong is a lot
of things.
is a shorter list than what it does right. So
Yeah.
contrary to our philosophy of starting where things are going, I'm gonna go with what it does right first because it's
Sure.
a much shorter list.
All right.
The models are cool. I love FNAF lore
Sure.
more than the FNAF games themselves. So I actually think that this has a lot of fun lore in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is lore canon to the rest of the?
it is canon.
It is canon.
People did not.
FNAF World
they did
is
not think
canon.
it was canon.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy thing.
Well, at
it's-
least some parts of it is canon.
So Matt Pat found this secret. I don't know if anyone else did before him, but I know Matt Pat was the one that I saw.
All right.
From Game Theory.
Right.
That when FNAF Help Wanted, the VR game, when you beat that game with a specific ending, it unlocks a little trophy in FNAF World.
Yeah.
But like you can only get that little trophy from doing it from Help Wanted. So there's a connection. So it's probably connected to not the lore of the games in the game, the lore of FNAF is convoluted as all hell.
FNAF has a more complicated lore than like World of Warcraft or something.
People make fun of Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, just try to follow FNAF.
Yeah.
At least, yeah. And that's about where it does right. The graphics are good. The enemy design is actually kind of pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the combat system in theory works.
So I think I think someone in the background just had a seizure because you said that that FNAF World had good graphics.
No. We'll get there. I'm talking about like base, like the graphics are fine. They're pop. It does what it needs to do. I was never confused about what something was.
Sure.
And I actually think it was appeasing on the eyes. It's very chibi, but it is, appeasing on the eyes.
Yeah. Fair.
What it does wrong. Let's see. Where should I start? Let's go with the combat system.
Yeah, so sure. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go with we'll work backwards.
Yeah,
so the combat system would work fine if you could turn off the flashing. Let me tell you, this game has a warning about strobe lights. Literally, battles become fucking chaos of strobe lights and sounds. I turn the volume off. I have no sound effect on. Which you cannot do in game. You have to just mute your computer.
You have to do that in your stream mixer, or on your sound mix. Wow.
Yeah, you cannot turn the volume off in game for anything. You cannot. There are no settings in game. It is what you get.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry. There's one thing that's good. There's 40 characters and they're all different, and their abilities, if you really think about it, sometimes match what they can do. Like for instance, you can get Purple Guy, and Purple Guy gets Unscrew, which is an insta-kill move, and this whole thing is he unscrewed the thing. It's cool. Anyway.
Okay.
But it's not Purple Guy. It's the Purple Guy inside the game. Believe me, this game is crazy. Combat is a mess of strobe lights and sounds, and you can eventually get items called bits that do all the fighting for you, and you don't even need to attack except for bosses.
How many bosses are there?
Well, you could refight them, so an infinite amount.
How many unique bosses are there?
How many, like what?
How many unique bosses are there?
8?
Oh, okay.
I want to say 8.
So it's a decent amount then. A decent amount.
It's a decent amount. You're gonna fight. You're gonna fight like 4 of them over and over again because of a different problem we'll get to in a moment.
Oh boy.
But yeah, there are unique ones. There's final bosses. There's a secret boss against a rainbow that, if you don't kill him in time, will just insta-kill your party with a giant rainbow blast. That, of course, makes the screen strobe.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
As you do,
Um,
as you do.
As you do. Oh, the escape key. If you press the escape key, it just closes the game.
Oh,
Straight up. Just straight
okay.
up. Yeah.
No pause
I
menu,
can
no
say
nothing.
There's no pause. I mean, there's pause buttons by like you can hit party. There's the screen is fucking filled with stuff. Scott Coughlin is good at making horror games, but man, this RPG is nonsense. It is, it is an assault on your senses. Like
Yeah.
at first you're like, okay, everything looks pretty nice.
Right.
Like, oh, everything looks pretty nice, and then like things happen, and you're like, oh shit.
It's like, oh god, what's happening?
Oh god, I will say like the graphics by themselves are nice. The
Right.
graphic design is made by a madman. Which now that there is more lore in the series, I can't tell if that was intentional.
I mean, here's
There's a lot of stuff he's done that isn't intentional, and it just has worked.
yeah.
Yeah, no, but like the thing is that I'm starting to wonder. Well, because now we're all pretty sure that FNAF World was not made by Scott Kaufman. It was made by Scott Kaufman's character inside of his own game universe.
Yeah.
This series.
Yeah.
Scott Kaufman is a character in the game, but it's not Scott Kaufman.
Yeah.
It is a different Scott Kaufman.
Yeah.
Which is actually said a bunch of times in the game.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Scott Kaufman, not Scothman. Or Kaufman. But Scott Kaufman, I mean, he has a way to do with horror games and his lore, and I gotta say, his storytelling, even though it's convoluted as hell, is absolutely amazing. And just the way how he can just twist puzzles into his storytelling is absolutely fantastic, even to the smallest of details that you think aren't even intentional, but they are intentional. If it is even intentional, I don't even know at this point. But he's good at making horror experiences. He's not particularly the best when it comes to graphic design and UI design. If one thing I have to dog, if there's one thing that I absolutely just do not like about FNAF World, it is the basic AF UI. Yeah, well, for me, I've never played FNAF World, so I wouldn't know personally. But
Part
I mean,
of me wants to share my screen right now and just put it on and show you, because it loads really fast.
yeah, well,
Because
it's
nothing.
2 megs. It's 2 megs. Like, but judging from the just the screenshots on Game Jolt and everything like that, like, it is probably the most basic of basic backgrounds. You know, the chibi, the characters are super chibi. There's not necessarily any shading, you know, and the
I'm just saying it's aesthetically pleasing for like a
yeah.
simple thing. I would never say it's like on par with Crisis.
Yeah, absolutely not. By the way, can your computers run Crisis Remastered?
I have not bought the game.
I got Crisis Remastered because I've never played the Crisis games, and I ran it on Can Run Crisis mode. It actually went pretty well. I think I got like around 25 frames. I mean, it was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna buy this game. I'm gonna buy it on the Epic Game Store. So,
I mean, you can only find it on Epic Game Store. It is an Epic Game Store exclusive. Yeah, you can't find the remastered version on Steam. But yeah, no, FNAF World, I like the UI just seems so simple. It just seems like, honestly, so simple. Like, there's really not much pizzazz to it. I can understand why people got extremely angry at Scott Cawthon, because this game looks like a trash heap. I'm sorry, Scott, I love you, but I mean, what is that UI?
Yeah. So back to things that are wrong with the game.
Okay, go on.
So we all know that Scott Cawthon's lore is convoluted and ambiguous often, and he doesn't like giving answers like straight out. He has in the past, but normally answers more questions.
Yeah.
We would learn that also includes gameplay in FNAF World, You are kind of just dropped, and the hints of what to do are also ambiguous. You spend a lot of time walking around just going, like,
Yeah.
there are things like, oh, there is there's a seagull on a stump that if you walk into it from the right angle, you'll clip through it, and then you'll be in this weird glitch area that allows you to go get a specific item.
Oh.
It's also endgame, so like if you just accidentally find it, you'll just die.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, there's no penalty for death.
Oh,
None.
good.
You can just you're like, oh no, I'm dead.
Oh boy, howdy.
Boy howdy. The random encounters are every like 5 steps.
Mm. Wait, really? That's how often they are?
It's so fucking often.
Oh
I mean,
my
like,
God.
It's random, but like, boy, it's like every 5 seconds.
And I thought Pokemon Blue was bad.
Yeah, and so also, there's a secret plot line, which is the plot line to actually get the real ending.
Mm.
There's like 20. There's like 75 million endings. And you have to when you're following Fredbear. He's the golden one, Golden Fredbear.
The golden
and
child.
You have to get to the end of his dialogue. What? Sorry, what?
The golden child.
Well, it's not the child. It's the bear stuffed animal.
It's a bear stuffed animal that may or may not have 2 people in it possessing.
No, that's Golden Freddy. That's Golden Freddy. This is Fredbear, who is a completely different character. You need to focus. It's very simple.
It's been a while since I've been watching GameStop's Game Theories, okay?
GameStop's
Well,
Game
yeah.
Theories. Oh,
Not
okay.
GameStop Game Theories.
Game theory. Let me tell you.
Game Theories. GameStop.
So Fredbear
PS5,
is a different
by the way.
character. Is a different character from Golden Freddy,
Yeah.
who is Cassidy, but also possibly another character, the Crying Child. Because
Because apparently.
Moving on. Brain must do think. Brain must do think. Brain must do think. Where was I? Oh,
Random encounters.
Yeah, so basically at the end of his normal dialogue, if you sit on the close dialogue button and don't press anything, that's when Glitch Fredbear appears.
Oh boy.
And he tells you, and he triggers the beginning of the real quest line where you have to find clocks and set up the puzzles that you do in Five Nights at Freddy's 3 to make the happiest day minigame. It makes sense.
Yeah.
If you don't know the series, this is
Very confusing.
It is
like,
very confusing.
In actual game universe, this is probably the most simple thing. How you get to those clocks are fucking chaos. Like, it's just there are things that you could walk through, and some things that you cannot walk through, and there is no way to tell.
Oh
There
boy.
is the glitch. There is the 3 levels of glitch world that you can go through. That is separate from glitch land, which is when you glitch through the world. This is you literally go through the different levels of programming. This game is convoluted as hell in its gameplay.
What's the fucking difference?
This game can, if you know what you're doing, this minutes. If you don't know what you're doing, it will last weeks because it is convoluted.
Yeah.
Now, it is insanity, and there are different endings, and then there's a trailer. There's a teaser for Sister Location, but also could not be Sister Location because of how this series works. Yeah.
Basically,
Chaos.
it's got basically this entire game has got going. Well, yes, but no.
Yeah. The game is chaos and awful, kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
If you can handle strobe lights, I would recommend getting a guide and playing through the game,
Yeah.
because that will get you through there.
I mean, here's my final thoughts on FNAF World. Honestly, Scott Cawthon, love the game. FNAF, love the franchise. FNAF World, not really my thing. I mean, it
to bring
fits.
on his next game.
Yeah, but I'm more interested in security breach. Raven, how about you?
I like at least when there was what, Five Nights 3? Is
Mhm.
it is it 3 with the Green Rabbit?
Yes, with
Springtrap.
Springtrap.
Yeah, Springtrap.
Who's William
I
Afton?
think it was the game or two after that. I sort of just went off the radar and just gave up trying to keep on with the.
What was that? Sister location?
2 games later, I think.
Sister
FNAF,
location,
we're
wasn't
not counting FNAF World. That would be Sister Location and then Pizza Simulator.
Pizzeria?
Pizza Simulator.
Oh, okay.
Like
FNAF 6.
yeah,
Yeah.
Fafsnicks. I think I got to Fafsnicks and then I sort of lost track and just gave up with the world. But I love the story. I love
Yeah.
Well, that was the end.
even
of
though
the
there's
story
like
Yeah, that was
of the game.
yeah. That was supposed to
even
be
though
the
there's
end.
slight moments. Yeah, it's like
Well,
even
it
there's
is.
slight moments where its story doesn't quite connect with the other games.
Yeah.
But I love the story, and I can't wait for, like you said, security breach, because having a game we actually have to run around. Oh my
I
God.
would recommend looking up the lore. You don't have to play any games, but look up the lore stuff that's been found.
Yeah.
Because we're no longer in the same canon as the video games, because those are games within the FNAF universe.
At this point, it's a FNAF multiverse. At this point, like it's literally a multiverse at this point.
Well, as he's explaining, it's I don't want to sit here and explain FNAF lore for an hour. This is not a FNAF podcast.
Yeah.
If you guys want us to do a FNAF podcast,
Yeah.
donate,
If you guys want us to
out.
recap on our favorite FNAF games of all time, I mean,
if you want a special live stream where we all just sit together and just try to explain FNAF for like an hour and a half, like donate. Let's put the goal to actually unreasonable 1,000, because I don't want to do that. But if we do that, if you guys donate $1,000, then we will sit
at this
for an
point,
hour.
our hands are tied. At this point, our hands are tied.
I will if you guys throw $1,000 at us.
I don't think we even have a donate button. No, we don't.
No.
If you guys find a way,
listen, give all of us like $1,000 each. We'll fucking do it 100%.
No, if you go on my stream and you do 1,000, I will spread it to the rest of Indiehub.
Good.
We will sit.
Don't tell KJ.
Not KJ. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, KJ will have to make a pizza with pineapple on it and then eat it.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right, Oz. So with that being said,
before I do my pitch for the game, I just want to say my final thoughts, and this is gonna be absolutely gonna put me on somebody's list. FNAF World is my favorite FNAF game.
Ooh.
Mostly because it's so bad that I absolutely love it.
okay.
It is so endearing how bad this is. It's like looking at like a super fat butterfly that can't fly. Like it's you love it. You absolutely love it, but it's broken in every way.
Yeah. I somehow understood that. I really did. I somehow actually understood that. All right.
So
it's like I can fly a plane, but I can't land it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like watching that, just watching Raven smash a plane into the ground over and over again for hours. All right, so my pitch.
Yes.
FNAF World, the game that's as broken as the animatronics inside of it.
That's actually really good. That's pretty fucking decent. That is pretty fucking decent. All right, and for my game, I mean, it's no surprise. You know, I love me some FPS shooters, and honestly, when I played this game on stream for the first time, I was extremely surprised on how short the game was. I'm not gonna lie, but it's Bright Memory, which is a FPS hack and slash made by the one-man studio FYQD, Fi Quad. I don't know if it's Fi Quad or if it's FYQD, but it's FYQD Personal Studio. And you can buy episode 1 currently on Steam right now for about $7.99. Basically, when you think of Bright Memory, just think of like having the Devil May Cry combat system and turning that into an FPS. That and you get Bright Memory, because that's literally what it is. Basically you string multiple different combos, and you have different abilities that augment your attacks. So for example, you have like a big ass katana, and you also have a shotgun, you have an AR, and you have a pistol. But the graphics look absolutely beautiful and stunning. Honestly, rivaling AAA developers. Like, this game looks absolutely fantastic.
What game is it?
It's called Bright Memory.
I'm gonna look it up.
It is a game that got showcased on the Xbox Series X, and it's actually going to become their launch title for the Xbox Series X. So a one-man developer that developed the Bright Memory is going to be an Xbox launch title, which is actually really, really interesting to know. But some things that you guys need to know, whenever I played episode 1 on Steam, which is called Bright Memory, you can buy Bright Memory, and then there's Bright Memory Infinite. Bright Memory Infinite is what's going to come out later. But episode 1 right now, it's like $10 regular price. Some issues that I've had whenever I was playing Bright Memory was that sometimes the enemies can be bullet sponges at sometimes. Like it honestly feels like the time to kill in the game should be a little bit shorter, especially with the combos that you can whip up, and you know, all the abilities that you could do. The controls can be a little bit clunky at times, especially with the whole grappling mechanic that they also had in it. But the levels themselves are pretty linear, with little room for exploration. Honestly, I would like it if Bright Memory Infinite kind of expanded just a little bit more in terms of their map design, and have like collectible secrets. Maybe that'd be cool. The boss fights themselves are pretty uninspiring. The boss fight in episode 1 is Xinjiang, and basically it was like just a random it was like the most predictable combos ever. Like, the puzzles of Bright Memory weren't really indicated the best. But I mean, it is like a $10 demo that you can buy right now on Steam. And honestly, the really cool thing about it is if you buy the demo right now on Steam, whenever Bright Memory Infinite launches, you get Bright Memory Infinite completely for free. Which is honestly such a power move from Fi Quad Studios. I'm just gonna say Fi Quad Studios. That makes it easier on me. But like,
I just keep thinking of Far Quad.
yeah, exactly.
I do say it, I'm just like, oh.
But I mean, honestly, if you buy this like it's like a 30-minute demo, pretty much. Like, that is the runtime of episode 1. It's like a $10 demo, 30 minutes. You get like beautiful graphics. And I do mean beautiful graphics. These graphics rival AAA developers, and I 100% mean that. The graphics look incredible. The game design, like the gameplay by itself is pretty fun once you start actually defeating enemies and whatnot. Like, that part is amazing. The storyline could be a little bit fixed up here and there and everything like that. But for 30-minute playtime, $10, and you get the final game when it finally releases. You get the full game completely for free. Honestly, thumbs up all around Fi Quad Studios, 100%. And for it to be made by one developer and have those types of graphics out there, I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. It's stunning, because not only does it look beautiful, right? It has RTX, ray tracing enabled, and everything like that. But it runs fantastically. Basically, the minimum recommended specs is a R9 390. I have an R9 390 in my streaming computer right now, and this streaming computer is about 6-7 years old right now. Like, this thing is almost giving up the ghost. I played it whenever I went on this PC, and it runs beautifully. It runs absolutely fantastic.
It's also on sale right now for $8.
It's also on sale right now for $8. Correct. But I mean, I'm running it on a really dated PC. It runs absolutely smooth. Granted, you need to lower down a few of the settings and everything like that.
That just means it's well optimized.
Yeah, exactly. And to have those types of graphics and have it so well optimized to where it works with a really dated PC, is absolutely amazing. The gameplay sometimes is a little bit clunky, but once you really get into it, the gameplay feels really satisfying, and honestly, it's extremely fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is extremely fun whenever you actually start playing for it. The pacing of the story is okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. And to be fair, this was released pretty recently. Hold on, let me go ahead and search it up. It was released in 2019. So I mean, but like I said, for this being a one-man squad, I mean, honestly, I'm a really big gameplay guy. You know, storyline could be great and everything like that, but honestly, I get hooked to gameplay. And
so you would absolutely love FNAF World.
Yeah, sure, I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, because that gameplay though. Ooh, that gameplay though.
The gameplay loop is so short; it happens every like 5 seconds.
Yep, exactly. It is absolutely amazing for a one-man crew. And like I said, Bright Memory Infinite is going to become an Xbox Series X launch title. Like, that's amazing. That is honestly so amazing to see that. And from what it looks right now, Bright Memory Infinite looks to be a fantastic looking game as well.
I mean, I'm not as big a fan of FPSs. Most like I'm assuming everyone else in this group is. It does look.
I like good FPS, but at the same time, it's not.
I think it looks nice. I think the game looks and runs smoothly. That's really good. That's well optimized, especially when it's made by one person.
Yeah,
it's really hard to do. There are AAA companies that still can't do it.
Ubisoft,
in general.
Ubisoft, EA, Epic.
The Crytek engine is notoriously unoptimized for anything.
I mean, this is not even made on Crytek. This is literally made in Unreal Engine.
Yeah, no, which is a great engine.
It is absolutely stunning.
I did think it was kind of odd that it like opened like the first Xbox showcase, like the Xbox.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's cool. Like, that must be great for him.
Right.
I'm trying to think of. I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks fun and fluid, but like,
right.
I don't want to spend money on it. but that's me. That's me.
Right.
Do not, like, I have the weirdest taste in video games.
Right.
I am currently playing Dynasty Warriors 9.
To me, like, Bright Memory kind of is. You know what? No, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it for my putting in a pitch. I'm gonna save it for my pitch. Go ahead.
Is it? What sort of, like, I know it's FPS. Is it like it looks futuristic?
It is.
But then I saw somebody that was like a knight with like armor.
So basically, you play as a woman called Sheila. I'm pretty sure that's what her name is. And pretty much from what I can see, it's like I don't know what else to describe it, but it's like a futuristic metropolis looking area. There's like a supernatural science research organization that's kind of going around and everything like that. And basically you're trying to defeat them, maybe.
Kind of future punk.
Yeah, it's kind of future punk-esque. I guess you could say that. But yeah, it's very sci-fi. There's a female protagonist that you play through, and it's an FPS game that honestly looks fantastic. I mean, there really isn't much else to say. Raven, do you have anything to add?
Like I like this. I like kind of like the punkish, the cyberpunk, steampunk kind of like style of things. From what you said, but it's just like I don't know. Like I said, like Oz says, I'm not I'm very very insanely picky with my shooters.
Right.
And I barely play shooters these days.
Right.
I used to fucking love myself COD, but
250 gigs, by the way. Even more.
It's like my reflexes on games trying to be high speed games, which that way it seems to me being having a high speed gameplay. It's like it doesn't call to me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just like looking at screenshots. My main concern right now is that things might look a little over designed and busy.
Yeah, I kind of get that too.
It's hard to see like especially like when you're moving very fast. Like, one thing you could say about Doom, like as gorgeous as the game is, the enemies are very looking. Like if you stopped and really looked at them, but that's because you're meant to be running around and like they don't have to be complicatedly like looking because you're gonna be dead. Yeah, and I'm just looking at that knight with the shield and the sword, and he's just like, there's just so many fucking lines, and I'm like, what am I even?
Right. I mean, like I said, the game by itself, it looks absolutely amazing. But I agree, like the world can, for me personally, whenever I played episode 1, I didn't necessarily see this, or didn't really necessarily experience this. But from what I've seen, Bright Memory Infinite can be like the environment itself. It can be extremely busy, and it could distract you from the actual combat itself. But I felt like whenever you actually get into the gameplay loop by itself, you don't necessarily get distracted all that much. You're trying to build up that combo most of the time. And so so for me personally, I don't necessarily see an issue with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. How would you sum up, Bun?
Okay. Okay. So if you wanted to play Devil May Cry and Bulletstorm at the same exact time, go with Bright Memory Infinite. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much my elevator pitch. If you wanted to play Bulletstorm and Devil May Cry in a single game, Bright Memory.
This thing, I never liked Bulletstorm. I tried it, I just did not like it.
Oh, yep. Oz dropped a little bit.
Oh
boy. Oz, what happened, man?
Back.
Oz, what happened, man?
I opened the Xbox store to see what I have on my Game Pass, and Night in the Wood just came in, and I'm like, yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go ahead and end today's podcast. As a reminder, we do this podcast every single Saturday from 9 a.m. PST. That is 12 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. UK time. And don't forget to check us out tomorrow. Why did I say that to her? I said that so weird.
You'll see me all the time.
I said that so weird. Don't forget to check us out tomorrow for the Indiehub Gamecast, where we take a look over the news over the gaming industry. KJ is finally back, so you guys don't have to see my ugly face here for the next stream. Next week on the Indie Spotlight, we're going to be taking a look at horror games with an old PlayStation aesthetic. And you guys, hopefully we can get some new faces other than Oz and Raven. Hopefully, because they need their help.
Our beauty care.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go ahead and check me out at twitch.tv/Jalavai, and all my socials are Jalavai, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me there. I stream Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. PST. And I stream Sundays at 1 p.m. with the squad. You can find Mr. Raven 00 at twitch.tv/Mr. Raven 00, exactly how it's spelled.
I'll be streaming in 2 hours.
Raven's gonna be streaming in 2 hours, and you guys can go check out Oz. That has a really weird spelling. At twitch.tv/OzDayHokai.
I think it's Oz. Very weird spelling.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
That's
Oz
Twitch.
Hokai.
it's
It
Oz
is.
the Hokai, exactly how it's spelled on screen.
You don't have to pronounce the H.
Hey, it's Oz the Hokai, all right? I mean,
Of course.
you have the H in there. I have to pronounce it.
That doesn't mean you. Okay, whatever. Whatever. I'm done with you guys. I'm done.
Anyways, that's gonna
I'm
go
trying
ahead.
to speak to people that aren't these two tomorrow.
All right.
Don't
That's gonna
die,
That's
Jesus.
gonna go ahead and end it for today's episode. We love you, and we'll see you guys
Love you.
next week.
Caca.